When I talk about the Matrix, I'm talking about the systems which have been created by society, which are deliberately designed to enslave. And you're existing inside of a system which is deliberately rigged.
Isn't it kind of weird for a right-wing self-help weirdo guru guy? Isn't it kind of weird for him to use the Matrix as his analogy when that analogy was made up by two trans women? It's kind of weird to use the cultural contributions of trans women while denying their existence, don't you think?
Everything you see on TV is a control mechanism. They're trying to control you.
Well, if everything you see on TV is a control mechanism, then the Matrix is a control mechanism. So you using the Matrix to describe it is kind of stupid in that case, right? Because unless your argument is like, I'm using the thing to destroy the thing, but in the process of doing that, you're giving free advertising to the Matrix, which would definitely be part of the mechanism of quote unquote their control. Is it going to be the Jews again? I didn't know that he had like one of these like they kind of things going on too. Is it who's his they? Is it the Illuminati? Is it the Jews, or does he keep it super vague so that no one can really know what exactly he's talking about? But everyone who has a they can put their they in there. I think that's the power of they, so people can just be like, I know who he's talking about, but you guys could be talking about totally different fucking things.
This ultimately led to all of his accounts getting banned. He even warned us that death could be the next step.
Now I have to make sure they don't try and suicide me.
Oh yeah. The global power structure does not give a rat's butt about whether or not Andrew Tate lives or dies. They do not care. They could not begin to care. It is not their concern. They don't really give a rat's butt. You can't do this like they want to control you. Everything that their system has is a lie. And then be like, also, here's my private jet. Here's my sports cars. Here's me eating pizza. Here's me in my mansion. Like, that doesn't track, bro. If it's all a lie and they're controlling you, then you should be like living off the grid and eschewing luxury and, you know, like living like a fucking commando out there in the desert, sticking your knife through scorpions like a dude from a movie. Yeah, man. Oh, wow. This dude is so against the corporate power structure that rules the world. Also, look at his cool sports car. Look at his designer shirt. Look at his designer shades. Wow, what a rebel. Yeah, the global power structure's quaking in their boots, man. They haven't been this scared since the Che Guevara t-shirt came out, man. I don't know they, but I know he's trying to look like Pitbull, the rapper guy from the early 2000s. Oh, yeah, he is, huh? Oh, man, that's sad.
By some freak accident, our graves end up next to each other. Everyone's going to read my headstone and ignore yours.
Yes. Thank you, Andrew Tate. That's so true. Man, I care so much about that too. That's such a good, I mean, it's so true, you know, because like someone walking in that cemetery, you know, somehow our graves end up next to each other, some crazy happenstance, right? And no one's looking at that TJ Kirk grave. Everyone's just like, whatever. They're going to be there to worship that Andrew Tate grave. They're going to be there to leave flowers on that Andrew Tate grave. You really sit around at night, like stroking yourself off to this poop. Like, oh man, I can't wait till I'm dead so that people come visit my grave. It's like, who cares? You're a corpse at that point. I get it. You're saying you want a legacy. I want a legacy too. That's fine. Just a weird way to put it. And I don't know why you got to build yourself up by tearing other people down, Andrew Tate. I mean, maybe I'm a hypocrite for even being the one to bring this up, but like, why you gotta bring up the fact that they're ignoring your neighbor grave, you know? I'm sure that he got friends and family that care. They might come visit that grave every now and again. You know, it's not a matter of how many people visit your grave, Andrew Tate. And honestly, you know, at this point in your life, there's a lot of people probably going to come piss on your grave too. So I don't know. Maybe that gets your penis. This is hard.
Nothing worse on this planet than Mr.
Fudge.
Average.
I would choose the dregs of humanity over you average pieces of crap. Nothing worse than you average. Oh, God. Why? Who gets so mad about average people? They're so average. Like, who cares? Let them be average.
If we take a look at the movie, it almost perfectly correlates with our actual society. People are put into a fake system that is meant to stimulate the mind.
Wow, it's almost like the movie was using metaphor and allegory or something, man. It's crazy. Whoa. Whoa, the movie contains symbolism, you guys? That's wild. I can't believe that this movie, this science fiction movie, was actually making statements about our current social system. Ones that you and your buddy Andrew Tate have completely ignored, by the way. But, you know, your misinterpretation is just as valid, I guess. Cool.
And if you pay attention, real life isn't too different from that. But not a lot.
Yeah, you know, I mean, except for the part about the being plugged into a machine where you're a battery for a civilization of robots, you know, hundreds of years into the future. Except for the part where, you know, you're part of an elite band of terrorists that are trying to topple the robot hegemony. And, you know, a prophecy has been made of one man who will see through the Matrix and be the, you know, the heroes. I mean, it practically follows every step of the hero's journey, by the way. Like, The Matrix is one of the oldest stories ever. The Matrix follows like the Joseph Campbell hero myth pretty much beat for beat. It's actually one of the most cited examples of following that story structure. So yeah, I mean, it does reflect something of human society and the human story. That's why it is one of those popular stories of all time in its various incarnations. I can't get over someone who literally watches a movie with an obvious fudge in subtext and is like, guys, has anyone noticed this obvious subtext in the Matrix? It's like, yes, everyone. Only you took, I don't know, 20 years to figure it out, bud. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news on that one.
It's all a lie. It's all a scam. Just go to work, pay your taxes.
This is why there's so many powerful systems controlling the world, and one of the main ones is called money. Money is used as a tool that can make almost anybody do anything. This is why we constantly go to a job that we hate. It's not because you want to, it's because you get money for it.
I mean, you realize that Andrew Tate loves money, right? You realize that Andrew Tate has like super expensive cars and flies around in private jets. I mean, like, Andrew Tate does nothing but glorify the concept of money. So the idea that he is some, you know, dude who's fighting against the forces of greed, who's fighting against money, is kind of a weird message to take from it. But if that's the message you took, I mean, good for you. I'm glad that I'm able to agree with Andrew Tate's fanboy on this, even if I have yet to agree with Andrew Tate on anything.
You used to be a slave and you'd work all day and at the end you got food in the house. Now you work all day, you get money, and you spend all your money on food and a house. A government would get slaves, make them work for free, and build things. So they've stopped doing that now. So what do now? They get people, make them build things for money. But the government print all the money.
Oh, okay. So he does actually say that stuff. He's just a hypocrite. Because, like, you can't say all that and then glorify wealth at every turn. You can't say all that and then be like, here's my 35 cars, here's my private jet, here's my expensive champagne, here's my designer clothes, here's my opulent wealth. You can't have both those things. I'm not saying that, like, no one who is against, like, the capitalistic system of exploitation can have any sort of, like, creature comforts or whatever, but there's definitely a point where you've gone too far. There's, like, a widespread debate about where that point is. And I think that debate is pretty valid, but I think that most people would agree that the kind of, like, wealth and opulence that is flaunted by this guy, and the fact that he uses it to sort of bolster himself in, like, people's eyes, I think is too far for anybody who claims to actually be against exploitation. And also, it's really weird to be against exploitation, but then also to say that you hate average people, because those are the people precisely who are being exploited. Maybe you just hate them because they're being exploited and you're blaming the victim.
So if a government can create as much as they want of something from thin air, and you'll give up your life for this thing they can create from thin air as much as they want, you are still their slave.
I mean, there are limitations even to what fiat currency can do. I mean, you know, it's a widespread belief that if you print too much money, you know, you're going to create inflation. And, you know, has that happened? I mean, we're definitely living in inflation. Is that the cause of it? I don't fudge, I mean, I don't think anyone really knows that stuff. There's a reason why economics is not really considered a science by a lot of people. But one thing I do know is that there are limitations to money. Germany famously tried to solve their money problems by printing excessive amounts of money, and they totally destroyed the value of their currency. So there's a one-to-one absolute correlation there. Of course, there are some other factors, but whatever. The point is that money does have limitations. No one can just print infinite amounts of it. But if you're saying that the government has the ability to manipulate currency, that's kind of the point of fiat currency. When we used to have currency tethered to a gold standard, if there was a recession, there's nothing that could be done. You just have to ride it out. There's no sort of stimulus you can do. You're just tethered to what the markets are doing. Whereas if you have a fiat currency, your money is more manipulatable. And that's actually a good thing, because if you start to have a depression or a recession, there are things you can do to counter it. And there are policies that can be put into place. Now, not all these policies are popular, but some of them have pretty good track records. Now, I'm not saying that the government being able to manipulate currency is necessarily a good thing just because there do exist those reasons for it to do so. I think that ultimately our entire monetary system and our entire economic system in general has serious flaws that should be addressed, and I don't really know how to do that. But the point is, money is not magic. And there are reasons for the manipulability of currency that go beyond just they pulling the strings, right?
Because he understood the system, broke free from it, and now he's living freely and abundant while
No. First of all, he didn't prosper outside the system. He prospered within it, as evidenced by his measure of prosperity being material goods that are manufactured by the society that he supposedly has seen through. But more importantly than that, Andrew Tate didn't get rich because he saw through the matrix, saw the truth behind things, and started manipulating the currency and started learning about how money works and all this stuff. He didn't crack the code of the matrix, okay? He kicked people in the face, and he was really good at it, and they gave him money to do it, and that's it. That's the whole story of his wealth acquisition. Maybe he made some prudent investments afterwards. I don't know. But I know that the initial capital from that was from being the #2 kickboxer in the world. Like, come on. That's not what happened. That's just flat out not what happened.
The best thing to do is to understand the rules of the game and find a way to win. Yes, the rich are always going to get richer, and that's the way the game is set up, so you still need to find the best move on the chessboard. There's no point sitting there saying, I want to play a different game, because that's never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the game is rigged. They're all cheaters, they're all liars, but there's just nothing we can do about it. That's just how it is, so, might as well suck it up and do the best you can within this crap heap. Okay. Now, on some level, I can get with that. I can get with the very real possibility that we're not escaping this hell, and we might as well do the best we can while we're here. But I'm also not totally putting to rest the idea that maybe we can get out of this poop. Because, there have been massive social upheavals before. There have been massive shakeups in human social organization and economics and all these other disciplines before, all throughout history. There's no reason to believe it couldn't happen once more. And there's no reason to believe that we couldn't play a hand in it happening once more. And there's no reason to believe that we're just destined to only play this game forevermore or until we destroy ourselves. I think that there is at least a firm possibility of us getting out of this. I don't know what shape we're in when we finally do, but I don't think it's impossible. I don't think that this is the only game in town. I don't think this is the only game we could possibly play.
You talk about GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I know the game, making as much.
So basically, you guys have found a way to doggedly pursue wealth and success while also telling us that wealth and success is a lie. Wow, what cool doublethink you guys have cooked up, man. That's great. Just like, man, all this acquisition of wealth is just a hamster wheel they keep us running on. By the way, acquisition of wealth fucking rules. Like, what? Am I the first to notice that this Andrew Tate guy might just be horrible? Might just be a little bit horrible. I don't know. I'm kind of detecting a little general sort of horribleness vibe emanating from this guy. Probably mistaken.
as much money as they can, getting the best guns, getting strong, getting some hoes, meeting important people, getting the best car. They'll do all that in a game, but they won't do it in real life. I don't need to play a game for GTA. If I want a gun, I'll buy it. If I want a car, I'll buy it. I want gear. It's me. I am GTA.
Well, if you're GTA, you don't. If you want a car, you steal it. It's called GTA. It's not called buy a car legally. It's called Grand Theft Auto. You steal cars in it. That's the point of the game. You don't buy the damn car. You know what? You know who buys a car? A simp who's playing by the system's rules. You know who steals a car when he wants it? A man who actually commits to the philosophy that you're pushing here, right? I don't play by society's rules. I've seen through the matrix. What I want, I take. Not what I want, I go and legally purchase with the money I got from kickboxing. You know what I mean? Like, you're not a rebel. No one's trying to kill you. No one gives a rat's about you, except for, I guess, everybody for some reason. But no one should. You're kind of just a corny dude. You're kind of just a dork. And I know you could kick my butt just because you're a professional kickboxer, but I challenge you to a kickboxing match. I'm gonna throw it out there because I know you'll never accept, and if you do, whatever. Even if I get my butt kicked, the fact that I'm willing to get my butt kicked by you shows that I got more resolve than your bitch ass does.
How can you make your life feel like GTA? The answer is simple. Learn how to control your mind. The main reason people are so caught up in the system is because the system has control over everyone's mind.
You guys aren't proposing an alternative to the system. You guys have already said the system is unbreakable, so just participate in it, but be good at it. Like, you haven't really changed anything. You basically looked at a rat race where everyone is struggling to get to the top, and you said, hey, guys, this whole system's bull poop. Everyone's like, yeah, what's the solution? And you're like, let's make everything a rat race where we claw our way to the top. And it's like, wow, you guys really have changed things with that. This is not some revolutionary new thought process just because while they're climbing to the top of the heap, they go like, this is all bullshit. That makes a difference? I don't think it does. It just sounds like a shoddy justification for what you know is wrong.
Things like the news, social media, blogs, it consumes almost everybody's mind, which is why very few people think for themselves.
People engage with media content in all sorts of different ways. Just because someone watches a TV news program doesn't mean they're being brainwashed by it. That doesn't mean that every fucking word that is said on that broadcast they take as gospel truth like a bunch of uncritical sheep. I know that a lot of people try to put forth this narrative where that's happening, but I really don't think it's the case. I've been in Fox News households. Even the shit that gets spewed on Fox News, people who watch Fox News, believe it or not, still have some sort of bull detector. You know? It doesn't always go off when it should. I think a lot of times they believe lies simply because it's expedient to believe them. But if Fox News pushes something those motherfuckers don't agree with, they immediately are like, nah, wrong on that. Usually I agree with old Tucker, but this time he's dead. That's wrong. Especially not now. Like, TV is so irrelevant. There's so many different places people can go for media content at this point. Like YouTube or and they can listen to podcasts on like Spotify and Apple, and they can do all kind of stuff. So I mean, like, the idea that people are still just sitting at home watching CNN all day, I mean, I'm sure they still exist, but like, that type of person is increasingly rare. I mean, have you looked at the ratings of these news stations? There's not this big contingent of people just sitting around sucking up this news information content all day. Like, it just doesn't really happen. And if anything, like, people are super skeptical of the media. You know, I don't really get this at all. I get why they're pushing the narrative, but I really don't get how people fall for it.
Point. No, but I saw the news. A lot of people are completely empty vessels ready to be programmed. The things they're telling you to believe are not necessarily for your benefit.
I think that he believes that about his own audience, and that's why he says that. Maybe I'm wrong.
In a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, they admitted that everybody that is active on social media is being watched and monitored very carefully.
What I want people to know.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, it's like, man, you know, there's allegory in the Matrix and metaphor and stuff. Whoa. Hey, man, did you know that, like, corporations are, like, using money to exploit us? Whoa. Hey, man, did you know social media companies are tracking our online activities in order to make us better and more controllable consumers and stuff? Whoa. Yes, everyone knew all of this a while back, bruh. This is all real, blatant, obvious poop.
No, is that everything they're doing online. I
mean, I don't know. Maybe there's someone out there for whom this like idea is some sort of mind-blowing concept or something, but where are they? Like, how sheltered do you have to be where you're watching this like, whoa, 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 red-pilled based, whoa.
Is being watched, is being tracked. Every single action you take is carefully monitored and recorded.
So social media is ultimately a trap to keep our minds distracted from the truth and to feed us information that isn't. But the problem...
No one, wait. You drew conclusions from that were not present in the argument that preceded them. You made a case that social media companies are tracking us and, you know, trying to influence us, which I think is very fair. And then you jump from that to like, so it's obvious they have built a mental prison within which we are all trapped. And it's like, what? Why am I watching this on a YouTube video then? You know what I mean? Like, you've extrapolated too far. All right. Yeah. Are they trying to control us? Of course. Why wouldn't they? You would too in their position. They're trying to sell you cheap poop. That's all they're really interested in. They just want to sell you a bunch of garbage. They want to make sure that every dollar you got belongs to them in the end. Just because someone is on social media, that doesn't mean they're all falling for it, okay? You're on YouTube. You obviously think you're exempt from falling into the trap, and you feel like you can pursue wealth, so you feel like you're exempt from the trap, but other people can't be? I don't understand. Like, what is the actual litmus test for being free from the system? Like, what is the, I mean, like, if you're still going to pursue wealth doggedly, and you're still going to use social media, and you're still going to strive for success within the confines of their system, and you believe that actually upturning the system is impossible, then you're pretty much just playing by the damn rules. You're not some kind of dangerous rule breaker. Why would the system care at all about that message? Hey, man, there's some guy spreading the word that we're this, you know, evil syndicate that controls the world. Oh, yeah? Were they advocating our overthrow? No, they still say you should just, like, cooperate with us and play by our rules and stuff. Oh. Okay. Like, who cares? They don't want to actually substantively challenge this in any way, so why even bother bringing it up? Just to let us know that they know? I'd be happier if you were just ignorant.
Problem is, most of us fall right into the trap because it's entertaining and it's easy to access.
By this own standard, you've fallen into this trap, right? You are on YouTube. You've fallen into the trap. You still pursue monetary wealth. You are in the trap. You still pursue money. You're still in the trap. This little middle finger gesture. Yeah. Notice that he's given the middle finger, but all his strings are still attached to him. This is exactly what I'm talking about with like stuff like, you know, you'll watch a movie like V for Vendetta or something. But who's giving you that movie? Warner Brothers, right? So the very elite that control you, that have basically dominated your life from birth and until death, and who track everything you do and are trying everything in their power to make you the ultimate little consumer goody good that's just gonna buy and never can think to the future and never try to advance yourself and never try to substantively change the system and never try to actually, you know, overturn the apple cart or even threaten it to the slightest degree. All those motherfuckers that have conspired in the halls of power to make sure that your ass never really questions them. What do? What do they give you? They give you The Matrix, and they give you V for Vendetta, and they give you all these movies like Elysium and stuff. Warriors for justice, rise up and fight the good fight and free us from the shackles of slavery. But who's bringing you that stuff? Who's selling that to you? The same motherfuckers that have you in shackles. They basically monetized your daydreams about the day that you might fight back against them. And the solution of in which like Andrew Tate is just like, whip, they've already won, no point. Like, what a coward. Like, he may be a tough guy, but he's not resilient at all if that's his only solution, to just give in, to just be like, well, we're never going to do better, so might as well just get as much for me while I can. Like, what a prick.